Okay, good afternoon. This is my Module 1 discussion. So I'm gonna start by introducing myself. My name is Carrie Pounds. I'm from Foxworth, Mississippi. I have 3 daughters. They are 19, 16, and 4. In my free time, I enjoy spending time with my family. I also play the piano when I have a little free time. I am in my 8th year of teaching. I spent the first 4 years in kindergarten, and then I moved to 3rd grade math, and that's where I've been ever since. As far as my feelings towards math, I can honestly say that I can relate to all the teachers who say, I could never teach math. I was not strong in math when I was in school. I could never be a math teacher, because that's exactly how I felt. So when I was approached by my principal to move to 3rd grade from kindergarten, I felt a level of fear that I have never felt before in school. I was intimidated by even the thought of teaching math. I knew that I was not very strong in math when I was in school. And so I just didn't think that I would be a very good math teacher. I honestly just liked teaching reading more. And, I thought that that's what I wanted to do. Well, when my principal came and approached me about moving to 3rd grade math, I was just nervous about it. But of course, I could tell that that's kind of what she wanted me to do. I actually even went to her in her office and shut her door. And I said, do you really think I can do this? And she just kind of laughed and she said, Carrie, I wouldn't have asked you if I thought that you couldn't do it. But she left it up to me. She said, if it's not something that you want to do or you're not comfortable with, don't do it. Well, I had been kind of thinking about a change out of kindergarten. Just didn't realize that it was going to be 3rd grade math was going to be my change. But anyway, after I finally ended up telling her that I would move to 3rd grade math, of course, I studied things. I went back over things so that, I could be prepared to teach the material. But after my first year, my confidence just soared. I enjoy teaching math. I love the age of 3rd graders. They're a little more self-sufficient than kindergarten. I have had amazing mentors. I've had people to help me be prepared. I do try to make math fun for my students, and I never leave a skill in math. We're always spiraling back to skills that we've previously learned. So I started out nervous and scared about math, and I ended up with a confidence boost, and I wouldn't want to be teaching any other subject at the moment. So moving on, the math article that I read was titled Elementary School Teachers, Math Anxiety and Students' Math Learning. I chose this article because I felt like I could relate to that, because I did have some anxiety going into, when I started teaching 3rd grade math. So this article was published in the Developmental Science Journal in July of 2021. The survey consisted of 551 students from across the Chicagoland area. The average age was 7 years old. The purpose was to determine if the math anxiety of teachers would have a negative effect on students' math learning. So a baseline was gathered at the beginning of the year on each student. The assessment was given within the first 12 weeks of school and then was given again at the end of the school year. 40 first-grade teachers were recruited, consisting of all females. However, 90% of elementary school teachers are female, so it just happened that all the teachers in the study were female. Teachers were given the mathematics rating scale assessment, which consisted of 25 items. Teachers indicated how anxious they would feel about activities such as reading a cash register receipt after making a purchase or calculating a tip at a restaurant. They used a 5-point scale from low anxiety to high anxiety. Teachers' math knowledge was also assessed using the Elementary Number Concepts and Operations subtest of content knowledge for teaching mathematics. This measured the teacher's knowledge for classroom math instruction, and it included questions about addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, as well as fractions, which fractions was completely intimidating for me. So I would totally get that. At the end of the study, it was concluded that teachers' math anxiety is, in fact, related to lower student outcomes in mathematics. It was also said that that future research may do well to focus on developing interventions that reduce teachers' math anxiety and could mitigate negative behaviors associated with their anxiety as an effective strategy to improve students' math achievement. And, I really related to that article because that is one thing that I tried even early on, even when I was first starting to teach math in third grade. I tried to not let it show that I was nervous about teaching it. And, I was upfront and honest with the students, but I tried not to let the math be intimidating to me because I was scared that it would in turn, be intimidating to the students. So moving on to the podcast, Principles to Action, two statements that shocked or intrigued me. One statement that was made was, are we born with a mathematical brain or does somebody create it for us? And that just kind of made me think, So I just kind of started thinking, he also said on there, we should try to cultivate the mathematical thinking in our students each day. So I started thinking, do I do that? Do I do this every day beyond my lesson, beyond my classroom? Do I do it in conversations that we have? Do I do it when we're walking in the hallway and somebody asks me what time it is? Well, there's a learning math moment right there. Do I do it at recess? And then also, he made a point to me, because I have kind of battled with this a little bit in my head. It says, who said that the sequence in a book is the best sequence? We do have our curriculum. We are expected to follow it. But do we have to follow it lesson by lesson by lesson by lesson? We need to know where the students are academically, meet them there, and then know where they need to be. How do we get them from where they are to where they need to be? So 3 best math practices that I've used. I think it's important to establish a clear learning objective for each lesson. I know we post I can statements and we always say our standards, but sometimes those standards just get so long and wordy that I think the kids get lost in them. So I always try to make sure that my I can statements are age appropriate and that I refer back to those I can statements, like the keywords in those I can statements throughout my lesson. Number 2, I think that posing hot questions, higher order thinking questions, especially relating to situations that are relatable to the students. I think that that's important. For example, Sam's pizza is divided into 8 equal pieces. If Sam eats 3 pieces of his pizza, what fraction of the pizza is left? Most students love pizza and they're familiar with how a pizza is sliced. So as they're reading that, question, they can just kind of relate to it. And then the third thing would be spiraling skills daily, whether it's in morning meeting, morning work, review for a test, for a grade, or even during centers. I always try to spiral in everything that I've already taught, even from the beginning of the school year. High yield routines that I use to review math skills. The first one that I said was, of course, math vocabulary. Knowing the meaning of math words is super important. In my classroom, we review math vocabulary every day. I may do this in different ways. Sometimes it's through an online game like Kahoot or Blooket, but they also love just throwing the ball around. Sometimes I'll ask a question, give them 5 seconds to think of their answer, and then I'll randomly throw the ball to someone and they have to give me their answer. Giving them the few seconds to get their answer before I throw the ball, I think that encourages everybody to try to get an answer because they don't know who I'm going to throw the ball to. Another thing that we play is Would You Rather. So my students always enjoy playing Would You Rather. I have the choices on slides. One choice on the left, one choice on the right. So the left choice may say, would you rather have 5 groups of 4 Skittles? Or would you rather have 2 groups of 5 M&Ms? Then they have to explain their answer to me. So if I call on them, for example, they may choose 5 groups of 4 Skittles, but they have to explain to me why. Usually it's because they like Skittles better than M&Ms, or vice versa. And then the last thing, a problem I see in third grade math would be that we test a lot. Sometimes it seems overwhelming for me as the teacher, and I know it's overwhelming for my students. I know that we need the data, but sometimes it seems like we're given major assessments every other week, in addition to the regular classroom grades and unit tests and things. Sorry. One thing I will say we did this year is we did use our district has started putting out these benchmark assessments that we are required to give our students. So this year we started using those benchmark assessments as their 9 weeks test grade, because in the past it was lining up where they were having to take like both of those big assessments in the same week, and it was just overwhelming. So we did make that little adjustment just to try to cut down on some of that. So I guess that's all I have. I look forward to the class this semester. Talk to y'all next week.